Hello, Personal Finance. I've made this video for you to complete your exercises today. There's another set of slides that I'd like you to open. This is specific for checking, so I made a separate set of these for you. To find these, you can go out to your Personal Finance community. In the Banking Account side tab, there's another set of slides right here I'd like you to make a copy of. So if you can go to File, make a copy, and make one for yourself, that would be great. This one you should do for yourself. This should not be a group set of slides. This is one for you, only you. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is go through a few slides. And those slides are the following: some extra checking and other banking services. What do you know? The first thing is a stop payment order. It is what it says it is. An order that asks the bank not to process a check that you've written. Sometimes this costs money, but it's a good thing to have in case you wrote a check that you all of a sudden don't want to pass. It could be something where you found out the purchase was not legit, or maybe you just didn't have the funds and you wanted to make sure you didn't get a service charge on the other end, and we'll talk about that in a second. The next item is demand deposit. This is simply just another name for a check, so I'm going to leave it at that. The next one is floating a check. This is when you write a check but you know you don't currently have the funds. Not a good thing to do, especially if you're just praying that it'll get covered and hoping that your paycheck covers this check you've written. Not a good practice to get into. The next one is a certified check. This is a check that is guaranteed by the bank, meaning they're going to guarantee it's paid. So it's going to take precedent over any other funds that are taken out of your account. The next one is an overdraft. This is a check written for money that for more than a person's account currently has. It's also called an NSF check, or insufficient funds. You can get your name put in the paper in Beloit, Kansas if you do this, and you don't have overdraft protection. Most accounts offer overdraft protection, where your savings will automatically cover any extra funds that you withdraw and you don't know. It's probably not a good thing if you don't know. So make sure you either have overdraft protection or you know how much is in your account at all times. The next one on the list is types of checking accounts. There are joint ones, much like my wife and I have, where we both put all of our money into the same account. There are special accounts. They have limited amounts of checks you can use per month. There's a standard account. Sometimes a service fee may apply or a minimum balance must be maintained. There are interest-bearing accounts, and there are share accounts. These are typically found at a credit union, the share accounts. The interest-bearing may be found at your common banks. They usually don't offer much interest, though. All right, let's keep going. Some other services. You can get a cashier's check, also known as a bank draft. This is kind of like a demand or a certified check. It's guaranteed, and the money is basically withdrawn as you order this cashier's check, and it's just transferred. It's an easy way to transfer money from one location to another, usually from bank to bank, or maybe like a major purchase of some kind is being made, like a down payment on a house or a car. It also prevents you from having to carry large amounts of cash. The next thing is a money order. This is like a check, but typically used by persons who don't want to use cash and don't have a checking account. You can do a money order where you just give whoever, like the old commercials used to be Western Union, you could give them money and they would send that money directly to whoever needed it. Not a typical way to share money, but people still do it from sometimes today, and a lot of your infomercials will accept money orders. So if that's something you want to use, you can. I'm not a big fan of it. There's so many other ways to pay today. They're almost obsolete anymore to me. The next one, loans and trusts and financial services. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, so I'm not going to go in great detail about it. You know that you can get certain types of loans. You can set up a trust, which is basically recognizing how much money, assets, and other things that you own that have value, and you can set that up through your bank, and eventually you basically identify who is the next of kin to receive all these funds in a trust type situation. The next item is a safe deposit box. Basically it's a place where you can rent storage, and put personal belongings and things that are relatively important, but they're small, in a box that's safe within a bank, and they'll protect that stuff for you. Alright, so that's pretty much all the other types of things I wanted to talk about. The next thing we're going to do is write some checks. So in this little area of space right here, we're going to write a check and we're going to paste a picture of it right here. What I'd like you to do right now is go to Google and find a picture of a check. So I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to go find a picture of a check, and then I'll come right back. Okay, so I found a picture of a check after writing check in the Google search and and this is the one I want to use because it has some information that I think is important. So I'm going to click on this, and it's going to bring up a bigger view. What I want to do with this now is screen snip it. I don't want to just right click, copy and paste, because I want to edit some stuff on it. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to my snipping tool. I'm sorry, I went to the start menu and then went to my snipping tool. It shows up, and I'm going to cut out this check. Okay, and it shows up like that. So if you want to pause the video and snip your check, go ahead and do that. I'm going to pause it for a second. Okay, now that you have your check, the next thing we want to do is fill it out. And you get to decide who and what purchase you want to make. You can use this pin up here. Right now I have it ready to go. And all we're going to do is fill it out. So today's date is March, and this is a challenge. It's not the easiest thing to do. Ooh, see what I mean? I'm trying to do it on my kitchen table here. Yep, I'm going to erase that. That's not very good. Here. Let's try again. 3. It doesn't have to be perfect, folks. I'm just trying to get you close. 3, 1. So I'm just gonna go with 16. I'm not even gonna try 2016. There we go. Okay, so there's your date. Pay to the order of. Who do you want to pay? Let's pay somebody and write them a check. I'm gonna go with Mr. Hawley. I went to the World Series. He paid for my ticket online, and so now I'm going to write him a check for paying for my ticket. Mr. Hawley, I know this is ugly, but I'm going to not have you watch the rest of this. I'm going to fill this out and then talk about it. So I'm going to pause, fill this out, and then I'll come back. Okay, so after that terrible attempt, you can tell I struggle with writing with the mouse. I filled out who the check was to, Mr. Hawley, for $350, and I like to put 00 over 100 in my box there when I finish it. If I have any change, I would put like the change over the top. Same way, you have to write it out on the next line, and I have 350 and 00 out of 100. And I put down here what it was for, the Royals game, and I should have put World Series. And then I attempted to write my name. You should use your signature here, not just print your name. Make sure you write it, and it should be whatever your signature is, okay? 3 other important things to identify on this is your bank routing number. This is a special number made just for your bank, and it's basically its online address, or it's a electronic address. You also have your bank account number. This is where all your funds will be kept, and it's identified and unique to you. And then finally the check number, which check this is, and that is also located right up there too. Okay. In here you would find an ABA number as well. It's an American Banking Association number, which can be important from time to time, but mostly these 3 numbers are the most important. And this routing number and account number, if you were going to do direct deposits of any kind or auto pays, these numbers become very important. So keep that in mind. Now with this check that you finished writing so eloquently, we're going to copy it right here with this copy button. We're going to go back to our slides, and we're going to paste it on this slide. And there you have it. Okay, the next thing I want you to do is I want you to go find the back of a check, because we're going to do a couple endorsements as well. Okay, so for now I'm going to pause it, go get my blank check, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, I'm back, and I have this time found the back of a check, and I want to talk about some endorsements. So when you're going to cash a check or deposit it, it's a good time to endorse. There's a couple ways you can endorse a check. The first is just a regular old typical endorsement, and basically when you sign the back of this, anyone can cash it. So don't just go willy-nilly and sign the back of every check you ever receive or write. Make sure you endorse it when it's appropriate. And you simply just put your signature here, and that's an endorsement. And I'm going to do a quick version. So I'd like you to get a copy of that and we'll copy it and paste it into your slides under check endorsements. We're going to do a couple of these, so that's the first one. Alright, that's just a regular endorsement. If you want to label that, you can. I'm going to go back to that same check, the back of the check, and I also want to do a restrictive endorsement. So I'm going to do another screen snip. I'm going to go new, snip this again, and this time we want to do a restrictive endorsement. Okay, for your restrictive endorsement, you're going to want to put for deposit only. Typically there's a stamp or something like that that you can get from a business that would say for deposit only, and that would actually allow it to only be deposited by that person in particular. So I want you to put for deposit only on your check. Now I'm going to pause it and write this in real quick so I don't run out of time. And there you have it. There's for deposit only on there. And you might also identify who that for deposit only is, and then when they sign it, they're the only persons that can eventually deposit it. When business usually takes your check, they'll put that on there for deposit only, and it'll also have their business name on there. So that's one way for deposit onlys work. All right, let's go ahead and copy this one and paste it in there as well. This is a restrictive endorsement. Come over here, right click and paste. We got our restrictive endorsement and our regular endorsement, or our open endorsement, if you will. I'm going to go back. I'm sorry, I'm going to go down a slide. Your next step is to complete the check register. I've given you a template to use here. There's a link right here you can click on, and I encourage you to open that up and make a copy for yourself. I already have one open, so I'm going to go right to it. This is what the copy looks like. These are some examples. These do not count as your 10 transactions that you will need to record, but you do get to have this balance to start. So your next purchase is going to be on March 1st, and you're going to go from there. And I want you to really consider what your next 10 purchases might be. Okay? Now you'll notice a few things before you start making your purchases. Some things that identify what's happening, like right here in this is like for check numbers. Well, sometimes they're not writing a check. Sometimes it's a deposit, which would probably be good for you to do as well. So if you want to identify a deposit as well as one of your 10 items in your check register, that would be a good idea. So they recognize a deposit as DEP. This is an electronic funds transfer. That's an auto pay. And it is for their auto. If you want to have categories for each item, you can do that as well. They made these up, so you can make your own up too. This was an actual check written, and this looks like a transfer to savings account from the checking account. So you can identify that as well. So I encourage you now to go in and fill out your own 10 transactions. All right, I want you to put your own 10 transactions in here, and then paste the link by going to share and copying, get the shareable link, and then copy that link back in to your set of slides underneath the template. Just go Control V, hit spacebar. If you click on it once, it'll give you a change option, and you can call it completed checkbook register. All right, that is the last thing I have for you to do today. So whenever you finish your checkbook register and the 10 transactions that have occurred for you, you are done. Thank you for listening to my YouTube video tutorial for your completing a checkbook and writing some checks. Good luck, and I will see you next time. Bye.